Yeah. So we start with chapter 14, how to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. In the summer of 1830, Victor Hugo was facing an impossible deadline. 12 months earlier, the French author had promised his publisher a new book. But instead of writing, he spent that year pursuing other projects, entertaining guests, and delaying his work. Frustrated, Hugo's publisher responded by setting a deadline less than 6 months away. The book had to be finished by February 1831. Hugo concocted a strange plan to beat his procrastination. He collected all of his clothes and asked an assistant to lock them away in a large chest. He was left with nothing to wear except a large shawl. Lacking any suitable clothing to go outdoors, he remained in his study and wrote furiously during the fall and winter of 1830. The Hunchback of Notre Dame was published 2 weeks early on January 14th, 1831. Sometimes success is less about making good habits easy and more about making bad habits hard. This is an inversion of the third law of behavior change. Make it difficult. If you find yourself continually struggling to follow through on your plans, then you can take a page from Victor Hugo and make your bad habits more difficult by creating what psychologists call a commitment device. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that controls your actions in the future. It is a way to lock in future behavior, bind you to good habits, and restrict you from bad ones. When Victor Hugo shut his clothes away so he could focus on writing, he was creating a commitment device. There are many ways to create a commitment device. You can reduce overeating by purchasing food in individual packages rather than in bulk size. You can voluntarily ask to be added to the banned list at casinos and online poker sites to prevent future gambling sprees. I've even heard of athletes who have to make weight for a competition, choosing to leave their wallets at home during the week before weigh-in so they won't be tempted to buy fast food. As another example, my friend and fellow habits expert, Nirayal, purchased an outlet timer, which is an adapter that he plugged in between his internet router and the power outlet. At 10 p.m. each night, the outlet timer cuts off the power to the router. When the internet goes off, everyone knows it is time to go to bed. Commitment devices, excuse me, commitment devices are useful because they enable you to take advantage of good intentions before you can fall victim to temptation. Whenever I'm looking to cut calories, for example, I will ask the waiter to split my meal and box half of it to go before the meal is served. If I waited until the meal came out and told myself I'll just eat half, it would never work. The key is to change the task such that it requires more work to get out of the good habit than to get started on it. If you're feeling motivated to get in shape, schedule a yoga session and pay ahead of time. If you're excited about the business you want to start, email an entrepreneur you respect and set up a consulting call. When the time comes to act, the only way to bail is to cancel the meeting, which requires effort and may cost money. Commitment devices increase the odds that you'll do the right thing in the future by making bad habits difficult in the present. However, we can do even better. We can make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. How to automate a habit and never think about it again. John Henry Patterson was born in Dayton, Ohio in 1844. He spent his childhood doing chores on the family farm and working shifts at his father's sawmill. After attending college at Dartmouth, Patterson returned to Ohio and opened a small supply store for coal miners. It seemed like a good opportunity. The store faced little competition and enjoyed a steady stream of customers, but still struggled to make money. That was when Patterson discovered his employees were stealing from him. In the mid 1800s, employee theft was a common problem. Receipts were kept in an open drawer and could easily be altered or discarded. There were no video cameras to review behavior and no software to track transactions. Unless you were willing to hover over your employees every minute of the day or to manage all transactions yourself, it was difficult to prevent theft. As Patterson mulled over his predicament, he came across an advertisement for a new invention called Ritty's Incorruptible Cashier. Designed by fellow Dayton resident James Ritty, it was the first cash register. The machine automatically locked the cash and receipts inside after each transaction. Patterson bought two for $50 each. Employee theft at his store vanished overnight. In the next 6 months, Patterson's business went from losing money to making $5,000 in profit, the equivalent of more than $100,000 today. Patterson was so impressed with the machine that he changed businesses and he bought the rights to Ritty's invention and opened the National Cash Register Company. 10 years later, National Cash Register had over 1,000 employees and was on its way to becoming one of the most successful businesses of its time. The best way to break a bad habit is to make it impractical to do. Increase the friction until you don't even have the option to act. The brilliance of the cash register was that it automated ethical behavior by making stealing practically impossible. Rather than trying to change the employees, it made the preferred behavior automatic. Some actions, like installing a cash register, pay off again and again. These one-time choices require a little bit of effort upfront, but create increasing value over time. I'm fascinated by the idea that a single choice can deliver returns again and again, and I surveyed my readers on their favorite one-time actions that lead to better long-term habits. The table on the following page shares some of the most popular answers. I'd wager that if the average person were to simply do half of the one-time actions on this list, even if they didn't give another thought to their habits, most would find themselves living a better life a year from now. These one-time actions are a straightforward way to employ the third law of behavior change. They make it easier to sleep well, eat healthy, be productive, save money, and generally live better. So one-time actions that lock in good habits. You have nutrition, then you have sleep, then you have productivity, happiness, general health, finance, and I'm not going over these. I would like you to go over it yourself. Let me continue with the narrative. Of course, there are many ways to automate good habits and eliminate bad ones. Typically, they involve putting technology to work for you. Technology can transform actions that were once hard, annoying, and complicated into behaviors that are easy, painless, and simple. It is a most reliable and effective way to guarantee the right behavior. This is particularly useful for behaviors that happen too infrequently to become habitual. Things you have to do monthly or yearly, like rebalancing your investment portfolio, are never repeated frequently enough to become a habit. So, they benefit in particular from technology remembering to do them for you. Other examples include medicines. Prescriptions can be automatically refilled. Personal finance. Employees can save for retirement with an automatic wage deduction. Cooking. Meal delivery services can do your grocery shopping. Productivity. Social media browsing can be cut off with a website blocker. When you automate as much of your life as possible, you can spend your effort on the tasks machines cannot do yet. Each habit that we hand over to the authority of technology frees up time and energy to pour into the next stage of growth. As mathematician and philosopher Alfred North Whitehead wrote, civilization advances by extending the number of operations we can perform without thinking about them. Of course, the power of technology can work against us as well. Binge watching becomes a habit because you have to put more effort into stop looking at the screen than to continue doing so. Instead of pressing a button to advance to the next episode, Netflix or YouTube will autoplay it for you. All you have to do is to keep your eyes open. Technology creates a level of convenience that enables you to act on your smallest whims and desires. At the mere suggestion of hunger, you can have food delivered to your door. At the slightest hint of boredom, you can get lost in the vast expanse of social media. When the effort required to act on your desires becomes effectively zero, you can find yourself slipping into whatever impulse arises at the moment. The downside of automation is that we can find ourselves jumping from easy task to easy task without making time for more difficult, but ultimately more rewarding work. I often find myself gravitating towards social media during my downtime. If I feel bored for just a fraction of a second, I reach for my phone. It's easy to write off these minor distractions as just taking a break, but over time they can accumulate into a serious issue. The constant tug of just one more minute can prevent me from doing anything of consequence. I'm not the only one. The average person spends over 2 hours per day on social media. What could you do with an extra 600 hours per year? During the year I was writing this book, I experimented with a new time management strategy. Every Monday, my assistant would reset the passwords on all my social media accounts, which logged me out on each device. All week, I worked without distraction. On Friday, she would send me the new passwords. I had the entire weekend to enjoy what social media had to offer until Monday morning, when she would do it again. If you don't have an assistant, team up with a friend or family member and reset each other's passwords each week. One of the biggest surprises was how quickly I adapted. Within the first week of locking myself out of social media, I realized that I didn't need to check it nearly as often as I had been, and I certainly didn't need it each day. It had simply been so easy that it had become the default. Once my bad habit became impossible, I discovered that I did actually have the motivation to work on more meaningful tasks. After I removed the mental candy from my environment, it became much easier to eat the healthy stuff. When working in your favor, automation can make your good habits inevitable and your bad habits impossible. It is the ultimate way to lock in future behavior rather than relying on willpower in the moment. By utilizing commitment devices, strategic one time decisions, and technology, you can create an environment of inevitability, a space where good habits are not just an outcome, you hope for, but an outcome that is virtually guaranteed. Chapter summary. The inversion of the third law of behavior change is make it difficult. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that locks in better behavior in the future. The ultimate way to lock in future behavior is to automate your habits. One time choices, like buying a better mattress or enrolling in an automatic savings plan, are single actions that automate your future habits and deliver increasing returns over time. Using technology to automate your habits is the most reliable and effective way to guarantee the right behavior. How to create a good habit? The first law is to make it obvious. The second law is to make it attractive. The third law is to make it easy. The fourth law, make it satisfying. And how to break a bad habit? Inversion of the first law, make it invisible. Inversion of the second law, make it unattractive. Inversion of the third law, make it difficult. And inversion of the fourth law, make it unsatisfying. So we stop with that today, chapter 14. And is there anything that you would like to share on the ideas that were expressed in this particular chapter? Anyone?
Hi, Shrija. So I
Yes.
was praising your reading so much, yours and Mega's,
Thank you so much.
that two of our coordinators also logged in just to hear you speak.
Oh, wow. I'm flattered. Thank you so much.
So, anyway, as for what this man is saying, I'm seriously trying. I
Mhm.
am trying to get this all into my life so that my time is more, you know,
My God,
used.
so impressive, huh, that you're really trying. It's not easy.
Exactly, I am trying. It's still in the trying stage. I would not say I've achieved it. Still in the trying stage.
You're trying, and I think that's half the battle won, no?
Yes, at least I'd like to think so.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's very different ways of making sure that your good habits stay. Some of them quite radical, but
I know, I know, I know. Yeah. Anyway, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you,
And
Shrija. I
thank
also stayed up, although it's well past my bedtime. But yes, as Kanti had praised it so much, I said I must stay up.
oh,
One
how
day I could make the
sweet.
effort, and this was well worth it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Very motivating. Yeah.
Thank you, Kanti.
thanks, Mira. Because Mira is an amazing volunteer. Not only with us, she volunteers with so many organizations, and her
Okay.
day starts at 3:45 a.m.
Oh my God, and you're still awake. I should say I'm really flattered for staying up with
No,
this.
there's food for thought to in what you spoke. So, yes, it's worth it to
Thank
make
you.
good habits stick.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mira.
Thank you, Kanti. Thank you, Shrija. Good night.
Good night. Good night. All right. So, what about the other listeners if you want to sleep? Yes, Taranjit.
Kanti and Meera, whatever they said, I will second that thought. Your voice is so very soothing and nice. Today I'm really very tired. I am appearing for my MA exams. I'm
Oh,
doing
all the
English
best.
literature. Yeah, so today was the last exam. I was really very exhausted. I had that urge of messaging that today I won't attend. But I said
Okay.
no, she has told tomorrow. Yesterday only she has told that it's going to be only one chapter. So I'll
Okay.
manage. And it
Yeah.
is so soothing. I was just thinking, like,
Thank
finding it
you.
difficult to keep myself awake because I also had a very long day today.
I
It's
can
really
understand.
very nice. Very
No, it's a
nice.
good thing we are stopping with one chapter because I think that should be sufficient, isn't it? Because the time
Yes.
is also like
Yes.
this. Yeah.
Yes. And speaking about the habit that is made attractive here, sorry, it is to make it difficult. is really a good thought, because it is very easy to adopt bad habits because they are easy. But
Yes.
making good habits, for example, I would say, like children, those who don't drink milk. So parents have to give this Horlicks, Bonvita, and so many other things to just pep them up. And once that habit is formed, it will stay lifelong.
True. That's true. Yes. It's just the initial difficulty that you face. And
Yes.
also like
Initially,
putting
yes.
certain methods into practice, isn't it? Like he says,
Yes.
so true. Yes. Thank you, Taranjit. Anybody else? Is anything to say about the chapter? Today. Okay. No one else? I think everyone's had an exhausting day today. So let's stop with this then, and let's continue tomorrow. So I'll leave you all with good night.
Good night.
Yeah, good night. Sleep well, everyone. And we'll catch up tomorrow. Okay?
We'll see.